Good morning. Hand today's going to be 9-8 of diamonds. In this hand, we're at a full table, folds around on the cutoff, who open raises to 3, and I just call. And we see a flop on this. So, villain's playing 27 for 13, attempt to steal is 10%. I'm going to say not too unusual. His cutoff stats 33%, buttons 29%. I'm going to guess that we're probably around that 30. 31-32% range. That's the percent open range. His raise first in stats 25%. I think this is just basically not enough hands for a raise first in. I'm going to guess that by the time he gets to here, he just doesn't have that opportunity a whole lot. So we're looking at a range something kind of like this. This is almost 33%. You've got your pocket pairs, broadways, suited aces, suited kings, connectors, and so forth. We're going to include jack 9 off, 9-8 off in this range. So then it's to me, this could be a good, decent calling hand. This is kind of like a 3-bet or call. So 3-bet or call. We could 3-bet it, we could call it. I think villain has a lot of junky hands in his range that could end up paying us off, or at some point would continue enough to where we can make more money from those weaker hands if we just call. I think if we 3-bet, he's probably just going to fold. And I like the equity that we're getting. I think if I was going to 3-bet, I might lean more towards something like a king 9, queen 9, something that, or king 9, like ace 8, ace 7. Some hands where it's, I'd rather not be called. I don't really want to take those to the flop. I mean, I'm really just drawing to the flush draw or like a top pair type hand, whereas 9-8, I got flush, I've got straight potential along with the pair, 2 pair. So I called, blinds fold, we see a flop of 6-3-2. So I don't think this hits villain. Villain's going to have a lot of hands in his range that misses. His cbet stat looks, when he's in position, cbets a lot. When he's out of position, not so much. I think my plan going forward, if he checks, I think we lead here. We've got backdoor potential for the straight, and we have flush draw. I think we could easily barrel on a 10. We could barrel on, obviously, any diamond. Let's start with diamond. So any diamond, then I think we could do like a 10. We could do a 9, an 8, a 7. We could probably even do a 6, kind of represent a 6. We could have him in the range. Maybe even a 4 and a 5. I think that's going to be a little bit riskier, but I think that's kind of our move going forward. So villain doesn't give us the opportunity. He bets fairly large. Yeah, just a little bit, I should say fairly large, a little more than half pot here. What is he betting here? I'm going to guess that he's betting top pair, over pair, maybe like all of these pairs. Flush draw, open enders, doesn't really have them. Let's say gut shots, 2 card, 1 card. We're going to say over cards, and we could just kind of refine it to backdoor, but I think with the over cards, we're going like all of his aces, like ace king to ace jack, possibly even like king queen, maybe king jack. We're going to do that unless he shows us otherwise that he is capable of doing it. So we got ISO raise, a 3-bet on the button with ace queen, and he bets 50%, calls 60% raise, and then calls 80% all in with ace queen on an ace king 6-9. Okay. So flop top pair and then bet 50 and called. Okay. Could possibly be over pair. I think we'll go with that. So if that's what he's betting, we're looking at us, and I do think we could raise some of these hands. I think we're going to be raising, since we are heads up, I think we're going to be raising over pairs. And I think if we raise the over pairs, let's look at our frequencies. I think if we raise our sets and over pairs, that's a lot. Maybe even the top pair of hands. Because I just can't believe that this board's gonna hit him a whole lot. If we're gonna be doing all of those, and maybe even these pocket pair less than the top card, those things, that's not gonna be for value. That's gonna be for bluff. That's gonna be like your gut shot potential. So we've got the gut shot. That's a lot of hands that we are raising here, but I guess that's kind of makes sense given texture, board texture, given the ranges. I would be having sets over pairs, maybe that gut shot and then diamond draw. This could be a good raising range. So what did I do? I did raise, so I like that. I think I like this. I think I raised it. I like how I played that. Raise it to 12. What's Villain gonna do? I think Villain's only going to call. Well, I think he's probably gonna come over the top with a straight. Maybe even a set. He doesn't. He just calls. So what do we discount over pairs? He's definitely just calling with one pair type hands. I guess we could leave those in as a call and assume that like aces and kings probably 3-bets and maybe even queens. We'll say 50% queens. Top pair calls. I bet he calls like 5s and 4s. Middle pair is going to be tough. Definitely calling flush draw gut shots. Would he call with all the gut shots? Yeah, possibly once. And what about the overcards? Maybe they call once and then fold. I don't think so. I think I get players to fold. So I think we're looking at something like that. So he just calls. Turns the ace. That obviously does not help at all. If he plays those overcards, that just connects. So he checks. No big surprise. I think the question is, if I bet, what kind of hands will be folding? I think we're still betting the sets, and that means we're going to have some draws in our hand at that point. But I think the overpair is probably just going to be checking here. I think he's checking all of these hands, and if I bet, he's continuing with top pair plus. If he calls with those cards, he's probably continuing with those. I don't think the middle pair is going to be calling anymore. The 6. I think he's probably just going to give up on those, and he's definitely calling with gut shots, or flush draws, probably the gut shot. So I think here we're not getting many folds, so we're going for value with our sets. So I did check. So I kind of think we're going for value with our sets. Let's get this out. If that's 20, then I think we're looking at betting our flopped. But if we know he's gonna be calling, then why bet with our draws? That's kind of the thing. Yeah, GTO says we should be mixed. But I feel like if we think Villain's only going to be calling, or is calling 90% of the time, why include a bluff? Because a bluff relies on fold equity. So I think that's kind of where I'm going with the check. 9 comes out. And he bets 15. So at this point, what does he bet? I kind of think he could bet a set. I think he could bet 2 pairs going for value. I bet he could bet top pair. But at the same time, ace 2 3. Yeah, I kind of think top pair plus. I think everything else is just going to check and possibly check call some of these weaker cards. So we miss our draw. We hit second pair. And really just kind of a question is, would he call this? Would he bet with less than top pair? Would he call it with hands that I beat? So we're really just looking at this. Let's change these up. Not even middle pair. We're just looking at something like that, 78%. That's a nothing. Would he call? Get rid of the nothing. With a weak pair or like a 7 or an 8. I just don't think that's going to be the case. So, and would he bet with those? We have to really know the player, and we don't have a huge amount of notes on him. So I kind of feel like this is probably just going to be a fold. How we played it, we could be bluffed. This is a 10 NL game. I think a little bit more likely at the 25 NL, but he had to have called with like an ace. Or, again, you got jacks and 10s. I think jacks and 10s are the other possibility. Something that wouldn't have 3-bet us on the flop. Queens, also 50% of the chance that he had the queens. So I think he's going to be something like that, top pair plus. Yeah, top pair plus. And then for us, what do we call? I just think we're going to be top pair plus. I think that's it. I think we're going to have to be exploitative. I kind of feel like the middle pair is going to have to be a fold. You hate doing it, but I mean, I'm pretty certain I called here. I think this was kind of a mistake. I mean, it relies on him to play the ace X. It really does. But yeah, I kind of feel like a check would have happened with some of these weaker hands. That they would have checked and probably check called those hands because they have some showdown value. So I did call. He shows ace 4. Does he have that in his range? Yeah, he does. He's got ace 4. He's had ace 4 hearts, so he had the gut shot. That's what he was calling with. He turned the top pair. I guess I'm not surprised. Just not sure if my river call was correct. And right now, I don't feel like it is. I feel like we've kind of read it as he had the potential to have the ace, and then when he had the opportunity to check call or check and hope for a free showdown, he chose not to. He actually bet to try to get a little bit of value, and that just kind of screams to me top pair type hand. So I guess we're gonna have to take a note. He's out of position, so he bet 50%, and then call. I can't remember what. So 12 plus 7.5, 19, 20. So it's about a 60%. And then he checked and then bet. We'll just make it easy, 50%. 50% on a 6 of spades, 3 of diamonds, 2 of diamonds, ace of spades, 9 of clubs. Alright, so it made sense. He called with a gut shot, turned the top pair, and then led. So what about my play? I really like the flop play. I'm glad I raised. I kind of, as I work through this hand here, kind of pick out, yeah, we could do it with some overpairs. We could do it with like the 4s or 5s. We're basically, I think this is a hand that Villain's going to be missing a huge amount of time. It looks like his c-bets are such where he probably is c-betting over pairs, or I should say over cards. We're doing this with some value hands. We're also doing it for some protection as well. We don't want to give those overcards a free chance to beat us, especially if you have a hand like 7s or 8s. We don't want like a 9, 10, jack, or queen to come, or king or ace, giving Villain a pair that beats our hand at that point. So we're aggressive with those types of hands, and then to offset those value type hands, we're including in our gut shots. We're including in like the 4s and the 5s, and we're including in these flush draws that we have. It's just unfortunate we didn't hit it. I mean, it is what it is. I think the question on this hand as to how I played it was on that river. I don't mind the check. That was not a card that helps our range. But on the river, then once we pair and he leads, should we really call? I think it's probably a coin flip. Sometimes we're gonna have to call, sometimes we're not. If we really know the player, that kind of tells us if he's capable of bluffing. I know I probably am. So if I c-bet, and then get raised and I call for some reason, and then he checks. I mean, if I had an ace, I probably would bet a little bit, go for some value. If I had like an under pair, I probably would check. So his bet just seems like it would be at least a top pair. So I think we could do an exploitative fold. Alright, so hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.